Hello and welcome back to another talk in our exciting series about biology. I'm so excited too. We're going to be talking today about the digestive system. So I know that we don't really, I know this is terrible, in this state have to learn about human anatomy, but we're human, so we probably should know about how our bodies work. I mean, just a crazy opinion there. So let's take a look at the digestive system. We can go into all these amazing, cool things about it. So we're going to kind of start at the top and work our way down, kind of like your food. So food goes into the mouth. There's a lot of different organs that are in your mouth that are working to digest your food. You have your teeth and your tongue working in there. You have your salivary glands adding saliva. Then you have your palate here that'll help push the food down into your esophagus. See this little doot right over here? That's the epiglottis, which is a fun word. And the epiglottis is a flap. Okay, so you know that my grandma would say this. She'd be like, "Uh-oh, be careful! You can't talk while you're eating, or the food will go down the wrong pipe." And well, so you do have kind of two pipes. Your mouth and nose and throat here connect to your esophagus, where food goes, and then you have your trachea that will lead to the bronchi that lead into your lungs. So this epiglottis is a flap that will cover your esophagus when you're breathing. So air is going in and out to your lungs. And then when you swallow, when you eat, the epiglottis will flap and cover your trachea. They'll cover the tube that goes into your lungs so food doesn't go into your lungs and you choke. That's why don't talk and do crazy stuff while you're eating, okay? Chew, swallow, then talk, okay? Your life is more important than telling someone, what are those or whatever you want to say. Okay, so moving down, the esophagus is just like a tube, like a hose that squeezes the food slowly down, and that little food pellet we call a bolus. So it squeezes the bolus down. Where does it go? It goes into your stomach. Surprise! And what happens there? There's lots of different enzymes, which we've talked about, and hydrochloric acid that helps to chemically break down the food. Well, what about these other things like this liver and the gallbladder? You call those accessory organs, food, and the pancreas down here. They help to add things to digest your food, but food doesn't ever go into them. See this cute little green gallbladder? Rip, I don't have one. Mine was full of stones. That's a thing that you don't want to hear from the doctor. Yep, you're full of stones. These are not kidney stones. You don't pee them out. See, it doesn't connect to your bladder. That's way down there. It kind of connects to your small intestine. The gallbladder here holds on to bile made by the liver. You know when you throw up and you don't feel good and that yellow stuff comes out and it tastes bad? That's bile. Bile helps to emulsify or break fat into little bitty bubbles. So the gallbladder just sort of holds on to it, and I guess mine and many other people's got bored and was like, maybe I can take this bile and make something. I'm going to make these little stones. And so they'll fill up the gallbladder, and if it tries to send bile to your small intestine when you eat something fatty, well, maybe a stone will get caught in it. It's extremely painful. It's extremely painful. You don't want that. Okay, well, that's enough about that. So your food gets digested a little bit more by chemicals here in your stomach. And then it passes down here into the small intestine, which is not small. It's very long. It's just smaller in diameter. Okay, diameter is like here's the camera. It's the width around. Okay, so large intestine is wider and the small intestine is more narrow, smaller diameter. So what goes on in there? Nothing and just gets moved around? No, this is where your food gets absorbed into your blood. Your small intestine has all these they look like little teeny microscopic fingers called villi, and covering those little fingers are even tinier little fingers called microvilli, and the little molecules get absorbed into your blood through them. So that's why the small intestine is very, very important. Like most of your nutrients gets absorbed there, and that's why it's so long, so we can absorb as much as possible. And then in the large intestine, water gets reabsorbed, and the food goes through this final process. It's not food anymore. And then it'll come out as poop. Okay, lovely. So let's go over each part. That was just kind of a summary. So just try to remember cetos. I know I'm sorry. I can't move my shoulder here. This says cetos, C-T-O-S. Cells make tissues. So you have stomach cells. They'll make some stomach tissue. Tissues make up organs. So a bunch of different types of stomach tissue will make up the whole stomach. And then various organs make up the system. So the stomach, the esophagus, the mouth, small and large intestine make up the digestive system. And all the different systems working together make up you, cetos. So where does digestion start? Let's kind of just go over. I'm just going to kind of go over this. There's lots of people who say it better. You can find lots of that. This is just a summary. So digestion starts in the mouth with mechanical digestion. Mechanical means like physical. So your teeth grind up food into small bits. Okay, it's hard to like swallow a big giant piece of steak and have it start being digested. You need to break that up into small bits. There's also chemical digestion, your saliva, your spit. There's enzymes in there. There's amylase. So things like carbohydrates will start being digested in your mouth. That's why if you had a piece of bread in your mouth, I don't know why you do this, or a cracker, it'll like really dissolve and you can't really hold it in your mouth. That's because your saliva is chemically digesting it, even if you don't really chew it. So what's this esophagus for then? Like I said, it's this big muscular tube. It squeezes the bolus of food down and connects the mouth to the stomach. This squeezing action where the food is slowly getting moved down. Did you ever eat like a chip and like you can like feel it going down? Ooh, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Or you drink something really, really hot, like this hot soup or coffee. When you can feel it moving down the esophagus. That action of squeezing and moving down is called peristalsis. Where's my mouse? There's a word for it right there, peristalsis. And that goes on whether you're awake or asleep. You don't think about it. It's something your brain does, like keeping your heart beating, that happens without you consciously telling it to. It's going to happen. And that's it. Digestion really doesn't happen in there. It's like a big water slide. Whee! The food goes down to the big pool, the stomach. So what's in the stomach? It has hydrochloric acid. That's literally like when you see cartoons, it's clear. I mean, cartoons, they always want to make it green and it burns. Okay, it really would burn you. It would burn your skin. Well, how come it doesn't burn my stomach? Our bodies are so great. Your stomach cells, some of them are mucus-making cells, and they produce a mucus that lines the inside of your stomach and prevents it from being digested. And these cells are constantly being renewed and regenerated, which is why some people who go through chemotherapy and radiation have trouble eating and have an upset stomach, because a lot of the reproduction of these stomach cells that stop the burning in their stomach are not growing because of the chemotherapy. That sucks. So the stomach not only digests it with chemicals and enzymes, it also squeezes and scrunches the food up. So it adds enzymes to chemically digest the food. It adds the acid to break the food down into even smaller bits. And it squeezes a little bit. It's muscular to help break down the food more. Then it goes through the pyloric sphincter, into the beginning of your small intestine. And all parts of the small intestine, there's 3 different parts. The first part's called the duodenum, or it looks like duodenum. There it is right there. So it's not very small. It absorbs nutrients, like I said, through these villi. So they're like little fingers. And if we zoom in even closer onto one of these fingers, it's got the microvilli. And the microvilli are packed with blood vessels, capillaries, so that way they can absorb all the food. They come in very, very low in nutrients. They're hungry. The blood there it's hungry. And it absorbs all the food that you took in, and it takes it into your blood and delivers it everywhere else that you need it. That's so great. So it has lots and lots of surface area. So the more surface area it has, the more food and nutrients your body can absorb. That's cool. And then we have the large intestine. It absorbs water. And then there's stuff that your body can't digest, like corn. Use your imagination. And other kinds of vegetables, like we could call that roughage, that we can't digest. So anything our body can't digest, or that's like a solid waste through digestion, comes out as feces. That's poop. And so poop kind of, I guess you can say, gets made in the large intestine. It's, I guess, being made the whole way down. I guess you could think of it like that. I heard that the reason your poop is brown, did you know you're going to learn about poop today?